Hello. What high energy is here. I loved what we were talking about earlier about breaking the code, because I think many of us feel that we're wanting to step outside of the limits that we perceive that our society is placing on us. So
we love the words that you're offering here, because we want you to break loose of all codes and pay only attention to this vibrational proximity.
Yes.
In other words, let your guidance be your complete awareness and watch what happens for you when you leave those others out of the equation who have no way of understanding where you are in relationship to that. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So my question is really, as we're making our way through this creative process and we get ideas, we get rockets of desire. In particular, my husband and I are stepping into a new venture where we're wanting to create beautiful homes in wonderful places that are uplifting, that are beautiful to look at, and that work for everyone. And so I find that we have ideas, and yet we're trying to make our way within the time-space reality of this world with budgets and responsibility, wanting to move ahead in a way that nurtures our future. And so I guess my question is, how do we make our way through that creative process? In a way, it reminds me of the discussion that we used to have when we would talk about, I want a new red car, but then I can't afford it. We see an idea for a fabulous door system or some really magnificent creative element to include. And so what guidance do you have for us to work through the process?
Good. We heard several things from you that we think will clarify something for you. We're going to start with a comment that we want you to just let settle into you. And by the time we're finished, you will understand why it's such an important basis. When you are exposed to such a well-stocked kitchen with so many ingredients for so much potential, focus is a key element in not only the effectiveness of your creation, but in your satisfaction along the way. Mm-hmm. Because you can just make yourself crazy if you're trying to keep up with the latest innovation on this and that and the other. Technology is moving at an unprecedented rate. And so is manufacturing, and so is the gathering of materials and ideas. In other words, it is an arena that is really moving. That's part of the reason that you're so enticed by it, is because it's such a fast-moving energy. Mm-hmm. So you said something a little bit ago about how we want to create this home that is perfect or good for everyone. And we say that's not even possible, because all kinds of people are in all kinds of different places in their point of desires. There is great variation, but in their points of readiness to allow themselves what they are wanting. Sure. And so it feels to us that you have been caught sort of in the crack, a sort of mass consciousness stream of energy between those desirers of magnificent homes and those who are in the place of being able to allow them right now. Mm-hmm. And you can't serve both of those masters. In fact, you can't serve any of those masters. What you've got to do is decide what it is that you are going to create, and then trust that law of attraction will bring to you those who have already brought themselves to that place of wanting and to that place of allowing. It's just not your job to get in there and work with law of attraction. We don't see you getting in your automobile and telling someone else, you drive, I'm going to get under the hood and pull some belts and push some pistons. In other words, you let the engine do its work while you do your work. And law of attraction is the engine that really will do this work. Also, it is not helpful when you try to factor in what even one other really wants, let alone all of the other potential buyers that you're trying. You're talking about wanting to understand this market and wanting to create something that's good for a whole lot of people. And not only do you want to do that with all of them now, but you want to do something that's going to secure you off into the future. Mm-hmm. And so you're asking a lot of yourselves, and in the process, you're losing your focus so that your energy is split all over the place. And when your energy is split, then you don't feel your power, and then you attract to you those those who don't feel their power. Then you attract to you those ineffective people. The more clear you are about what you want and the more in alignment you are, so the better you are feeling, then the more you attract people that are already up to speed. Not only those who will purchase the homes, but those who will help you in the construction of it and in the procuring of the materials that you'll need for the homes, you see. And so this is the statement that we think is very beneficial for you, and that is, make a decision and then make it the right decision. Someone said in one of the workshops recently, it was interesting, it wasn't our friend earlier, but it was another who was maybe feeling a little bit like he is feeling. She said, Abraham, we went on the first cruise and then we barely got home and we heard there was another cruise. And we really don't feel like we can afford to go on the next cruise. But we're torn. We can't find anything that feels good because we had such a fabulous time. We don't want to leave ourselves out of something so magical and something so good feeling. But at the same time, we don't feel like we can spend the money right now. And so it doesn't feel good to go and it doesn't feel good to not go. And we said, well, that's quite a dilemma, isn't it? Where the only two options that you're offering yourself don't feel good. We said, pick one, and it doesn't matter which one you pick, and then make it feel good. We said, decide to go, and then remind yourself that you have the ability to do what you want and that things always come to you and that a way will work out and line up with that, or decide that you're not going to go and then acknowledge that the good times will come to you wherever you are and you do not need to be on a specific cruise at a specific time. In other words, pick something and then line up with what you've picked. As you've been moving through life, you know what you like. Let the things that ring your bells be the things that you put in this house. Build the house that rings your bells. Don't try to build the house to ring somebody else's bells. Build the house that rings your bells. Right. And then line up with that. And then trust law of attraction to bring everything that is necessary for the comfortable unfolding of that.
I am developing a sense of knowing that whatever is coming through me is a part of the creative process that is a part of this undertaking. So I trust more than I ever did before that if there's an idea that's coming through me, there's an idea, there's a way to fulfill it.
But here's the thing that you're missing that we really want you to hear. So the new idea comes about a new garage door or a new heating system or a new stove or a new sink, a new one every day, in fact. And so as the idea comes to you and it feels like, oh, this information is interesting and I feel like we should move on it, the thing that we really want you to hear is your work is not then to figure out how to make that happen. Your work is to figure out how to make yourself comfortable with that thought. And if you can't bring yourself in a very short period of time to a place of being comfortable with that thought, then don't attempt to take the action. That's really our message to you. Make yourself comfortable with the idea, so much so that you can't live without it. In other words, make yourself so comfortable with the idea that anything else just is out of the question. And when you reach that point of clarity, the universe will deliver the means to accommodate you. But when you get an idea for something and then you don't become one with your own idea, but then you attempt to orchestrate it by getting others to do whatever they need to do in order to bring it about, there are not efficient enough people in the world to buck your current, you see.
So that's the exact question is, you know, as we're moving through this and we get that desire, how do you get to that place of clarity? Do you just focus on what you love about it?
By talking about it.
And how wonderful it would be?
And by figuring out where you are with it. Give us an example of the most recent thing that cropped up.
Well, nowadays they're creating these new wall systems of glass, so the outside and the inside becomes one. And they're quite expensive. So they're beautiful, and they're new to the area where we're building, so there isn't a lot of experience. So there are reasons why it feels like the world is saying no, but they're so magnificent. And I love that idea of losing the barrier of inside and outside.
So I can imagine someone coming and seeing such a wall and never having seen it before, it would really get their attention. And because the potential for doing something stunning with light and with pattern is so enormous, I can hardly wait to put it somewhere where everybody that walks through will stop and be amazed by it. And I know that when people see things, that it reaches them in a way that a picture does doesn't, or that an advertisement doesn't. I can feel people really, really loving this. And I know that people are going to see it and recognize that they can't really afford it. But I want them to see it to know what the potential is. There's never been a material like it before. There's never been a material that could add so much beauty. It's like a functional work of art. And so as this functional work of art becomes more maybe the center pinning of our home, we maybe could eliminate even some of the other things that we're doing. But there's such a wow factor with this that I really feel like it's really worth putting into place, because anything that rings my bells like this, I know that there are going to be plenty of other people who want something that is new, want something that is cutting edge, want something that everybody doesn't have, want something that they'll have some control about, want something that there's some flexibility about. I really must have this. We're going to have these in every one of our models, in different samples and different examples. I want people to see this. This is a new thing. This is a wave of the future. It won't be very long before many places that have been dark before and undecorated before will be decorated like this. People will walk in and say, this room doesn't need anything else. They will be able to see themselves no matter what their furniture array is. They'll be able to see themselves in this environment. I really, 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 really want this. I don't care how much it costs. I really, 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 really want it. We're going to find a way of doing this. I think people are really, really, really going to want this. And do you know, in your rampage, as you bring yourself along like that, not only do you line up with the best of everybody, you'll bring the people who know the best about that to you just from this rampage that we've done together. But not only that, you've reached to the far corners of not just your environment, not just the area. People are going to come from people that you don't even know they're going to live in your area are being summoned by the energy that you've put forth here. In other words, potential clients, potential home builders are now on their way to you because of this energy vortex that you've opened relative to this one subject, you see. It's all about energy. Everything's about energy. Nothing's about action. Only act in inspiration to that kind of energy. Get yourself tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Get yourself to the point where you must have it and the universe must give it to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
So, you're understanding that you can be or do or have anything that you're wanting? You're understanding that it's not about action, it's about alignment of energy? You're understanding that you get to choose? You're understanding that your source will agree with you as you choose? That you are leading edge genius creators and the source is backing you up all the way? You understand that you have guidance within you in every moment to let you know whether you're moving toward the manifestation of something that will please you or not? You're understanding that nothing drops out of the blue? And you're understanding that the main event is not the manifestation, it's the joy of the journey? Manifestations are coming too, worry not. But let your journey be joyful. And in the next 2 days, be playful. Don't work hard, but pay attention to the way you feel. There is great love here for you. We are complete.